Okay, today we are looking at this house located here at 404 Baltimore Street. And in 1863, this was the house of a tanner named John Winebrenner. He was a tanner that lived in this dwelling. He lived in the same residence with Hannah Winebrenner, Emma Winebrenner, and Mary Winebrenner. Now, he was born in 1915, and as I said, according to the 18th census, he was a tanner, and he had a real estate value of about $4,600, which was quite a bit of money back then. On May the 16th, 1863, his daughter, Emma Frances Winebrenner, married Pennsylvania College graduate Mahlon Carlton Horning. Now, Horning was a student at the Lutheran Theological Seminary at the time of the battle. As civilians fled the town and took to their basements, Horning invited a fellow student named Martin Luther Culler to join them here at the Winebrenner house. They went into hiding in the basement, and we will talk a little bit about the house and its battle damage and these two men from the Lutheran seminary. Now, I do want to point out that today this residence is a business called Mr. G's Flavor Freeze. And they sell ice cream here, and it's a very popular spot here in Gettysburg. However, in 1863, in July of 1863, this was no man's land during the Battle of Gettysburg, and this house does have battle damage on it today. And I'm going to try to take you for an exclusive look actually in the basement where these two men hid out. This is an area that's off limits to most people, and I'm going to get permission and go down there and take you into the basement. So let's take a little bit look at the house here and talk about it during July of 1863. When the Union Army retreated through the town of Gettysburg, they headed in this direction to Cemetery Hill. Confederates had actually seized the town, and both this house, which is also known as twin sycamores. There were two sycamore trees. One of them still exists. The other one had died a few years ago, and another sycamore tree was planted there. The twin sycamores stood out here. It was across from the Sweeney House, which is today also known as the Farnsworth House. And in July of 1863, this was no man's land. And the battle between these two armies happened, and this was pretty much the center of the line. And that is why, if you look on the southern side of the house, which we're walking on, you will see battle damage, because most of the shots from the Union Army were flying in this direction here and hit the southern wall of this house. And we're going to take a look here at some of the battle damage here in the walls, as well as also in the shutters of this house. As is across the street at the Sweeney House, the battle damage is on the southern end of the walls. Now, homes up there that were resided in by Mary Virginia Wade's sister, Georgia McClellan, most of the battle damage is on the northern side of the walls, because they were the shots being fired here from the Confederate Army. Just a few years ago, the original well was uncovered and then reconstructed here. I do want to point out that that large sycamore tree over here is also a witness tree and contains a plaque stating that it was a tree there during the battle, and it was also passed by President Abraham Lincoln on November 19th, 1863, as was this large sycamore out here along Baltimore Street. Now, in 1863, as I said, he was a tanner, and he had his tannery shop here on the north side of the house. Winebrenner Run actually was right here. It's now covered over, but it ran here along the northern side of the house in 1863 and went back over by where the Gettysburg Middle School is. But again, today we are looking at the house of John Winebrenner here at 404 Baltimore Street. It was built in the year 1819, and it had two large sycamore trees, and has always been known as the twin sycamores. This has been part one of the Winebrenner house. Okay, I am in the souvenir shop behind the Winebrenner house, and for anyone that's interested, I just found out today that they sell witness tree tables, which were from the original sycamore tree, which was out front. And here's one here. There's a second one back here. And then a third one. Two of them are $1,750, and the third one's $1,999. And they come from the sycamore tree that once sat out in front of the twin sycamores house, which we did a video on. This has been part two of the John Winebrenner house. This is the crawl space in the Winebrenner home where the Winebrenners and the two men from the Lutheran Theological Seminary hid during the Battle of Gettysburg from Wednesday through Saturday of July of 1863. And this is a Gettysburg Battlefield Facebook exclusive of where these men hid, and that was Mahon, Carleton, Hareen, and Martin Luther Kohler hid here and wrote their accounts of what they seen and heard here in the basement of the John Winebrenner home. This has been the John Winebrenner home, part 3, an exclusive.